Joining us today is Joe Cluley from Mount Pleasant. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling good.
All right. So we're sitting here in the early summer, which means you've got to see your football players out competing all spring long in other sports, other UL competitions. Seen them in the weight room, seen them in spring ball. How'd the spring go at Mount Pleasant?
Man, it went really well. We had a really good year, and of course, all of our football players run track, and we had a really good track season. Had a great off season. Just kids that gained a ton of weight, and we were able to get some grants. And every day, we're able to feed our kids peanut butter sandwiches and chocolate milk after every workout. And we have a strength coordinator, Jose Morales, who does an incredible job with our off season for every kid here in Mount Pleasant, but specifically for our football players. And it was as good of a spring as I've been a part of.
All right. So with it's high school football, which means
Mm-hmm.
you're losing about a quarter of your team
Right.
every year to
Yeah.
graduation. So, kind of go through what you're going to look like on the field this fall. Who'd you lose to graduation? Who's coming
Yeah.
back? Who might be playing who new roles?
Yeah, so we had four kids that went on and signed to play college football. We had six that had offers, two chose not to. But Tyler Smith was a tight end for us. That's a big loss for us. Just a big time player. Our running back Braylon Jones is a really good player. There were some other seniors in there that did some good things, but I feel like we returned the nucleus of a really good football team. Our junior class that are about to be seniors is a really bought in group. I think that offensively, I think Mason McMahon, our quarterback, is returning and is poised to have an enormous year. Got really good receivers for him to throw it to. Dylan Bennett, who's a kid that went 10-5 in the 100, who can absolutely fly. We got some young running backs that are really, really talented, and we got a running back possibly come back from injury that could be a household name, hopefully for us. Think he has a chance to be really good if he can get over a knee injury. And then defensively, I think that it'll be as good of a defense as I've been a part of in terms of coaching. It's a veteran defense. We bring back Antez Jeffrey and Isaiah Hunter and Hudson Hampton and Money Thompson, who has 4 or 5 Division I offers. We have a really good secondary and a really good core of linebackers. We've got Ja'Cory Turner and Colby Turner, and feel really good about it. I feel like we have a really good nucleus, really strong nucleus. Of course, we're trying to build depth. That's the biggest thing. Got more kids in the program than we've ever had. We should be up to about 190 to 200 football players going into next year. And so just continue to try and build that depth and put our pieces in the right place.
So, if you don't mind, kind of walk us through 85AD2, who your competition is, and what you think you're going to see from them this fall.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest unknown is Nacogdoches. Them with a new head football coach who's had a lot of success. I think they are the team you don't know as much about. They have lots of talent, lots of athletes. I think if my looking at my stuff is correct, they bring back a lot of kids, but new systems and stuff like that. And, new energy and new culture, and I think that they're a very, very dangerous team. Of course, you got Hallsville and Coach Strickland, who have done a great job. Always tough. Pine Tree, always very athletic, very well coached, did a good job. Beat us in a driving rainstorm last year. Marshall with Coach Alvarez. Is a team that super talented, great coach, great coaching staff, do a fantastic job. Texas High, of course, Texas High is Texas High. They're super talented. Coach Stanford does an incredible job, has a great staff. It's really, White House kind of came out of nowhere last year, went 2-8, and then I think went 8-3. Ended up second, I think, maybe in our district. Beat Texas High, upset Texas High. We had a fantastic game versus them. It was a one possession game in about the middle of the fourth quarter, and they ended up taking it and scoring a couple touchdowns late. But like it's a district that is as competitive as anyone that I've ever been in, and coaches are fantastic in this district. You got great players. It's East Texas, of course. You're gonna have great players, and it's going to be very challenging. But I think our kids are up for it.
Very good. Now you've been around coaching in Texas for a few years.
Yes,
You've
sir.
served in various areas of the state at various levels.
Yes, sir.
So just based on that wide experience, what would you say the biggest challenge facing high school athletics in Texas right now is?
Man, I'll say this. I think the biggest challenge is, and it's a couple of things, but I think that the way it just in general kids are with, it's easier to sit at home and be on a cell phone or play a video game than it is to get out and work really hard. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges for us as coaches is to get those kids. We try to get kids out of the hallways. It's not even as much out of the hallways anymore as it's out of the bedrooms, and it's out of playing PS5s and the Xboxes and those things, and getting them to buy into something that is really, really hard. And in today's world, doing hard things is not what people are used to. To sacrifice for a team, to get kids, especially as a new staff and a new coach, and we went through it last year, to get kids to buy into not being selfish, because our world is selfish. And, I think all of those things are what makes this the greatest profession in the world. I think from a unique perspective, and like you talk about THSCA, fighting this voucher stuff that's going around and allowing kids to just go wherever they want to. Kids need to go where they're intended to go to. That's a huge belief of THSCA, huge belief of mine. But all of those things, we as high school coaches, football or basketball or soccer or whatever it is, are all involved in. And it's something that is being lost, and more so it's, the parents aren't quite as involved, and you still have some that are, but you get more and more kids whose parents are not as involved. And so you are trying to be father, mentor, brother, whatever that kid needs to be the best version of themselves, to be a part of your program. And then, of course, you want your kids to leave your program as better people than they did when they entered it. And so I think more and more like character curriculum and character development and one-on-one conversations are so important to our profession.
Now, for old school people like me, really not even that old school, maybe as recent as 10 years ago, the phrase you just used there, character curriculum, isn't something a lot of people know about. Go a little bit into what you mean by character curriculum.
Yes, sir. So, like, our character curriculum is something that we've developed. It's called BAM, which is Be a Man. And what character curriculum is you sit your team down. The way we do it is we sit our team down, and every week a coach talks about a particular word that we think is important to our program, and whatever that word may be, mentality or loyalty or you versus you or whatever it is. Our coach talks about it, and then we break our kids up into family groups, and those groups are with the position coaches, but not the positions that they coach. It's the other kids on the football team, because we want those coaches to be able to invoke their wisdom and their character into not just the kids they coach, and also to the kids that maybe they're not around as much. And now they can coach those kids they're not around as much harder, because that kid trusts them and believes in them and knows what they're about. That I think it's so important that the character of your football team is the most important thing, and the wins will follow. And winning in life is different than winning on the field, but we want to win on both. And so that character curriculum, that the BAM that we use, there's lots of ways to do it, lots of ways to skin a cat, and lots of people do it different ways. But I think that's become even more important. One of the things that we talked about is next fall is showing our kids how to change a flat tire, how to jump a car, how to tie a tie, how to shake a hand, things that are being lost because, and I'm to blame for this too, but we all get on those cell phones and we look down and we don't see the world anymore. And so you walk into an interview for a job you want, and your handshake's weak and you don't look the guy in the eye and your tie is not tied right. And those are man things that I think our kids don't get those things nowadays. And it's our coach's job to help the ones that do have that already because they got great families at home and just increase that. And then for the ones that don't have that male influence at home, to be that person that can help with those things and teach them things that they may not know at all. They might have zero clue. I'm probably 90% of our football team, if I handed them a tie and said, tie this, they would have zero clue how to tie a tie. That's something that's like probably very simple for me or you. It's second nature. I throw it on and do it. It takes me 3 seconds. But, our kids, our next generation, the generation that's going to raise my kids, they don't know that. And so if you don't tell them, they never get that opportunity. And so I think all that builds into character curriculum and just how important it is to talk about those things because, for the most part, gone are the days of sitting around the family table and eating dinner and talking about life. Those days are few and far between for most families. Most families are busy or they don't do that or whatever it is. And so those things that used to get talked about at the dinner table, now we talk about them in the field house.
All right, very good. Thank you for that, Coach. So let's
Yes,
go
sir.
from real big, weighty stuff and try and come down smaller and learn just a little bit about Joe Cluley here. What would you
Yes, sir.
say your number one guilty pleasure is?
Man, I would say the ultimate guilty pleasure is man, that's tough. I've got to pick from a few here. I would say
Or maybe we should ask your wife what your guilty pleasure is.
I was going to say Miss Coach Cluley could name them right off the bat. There ain't no doubt. I'm a big fisherman. And so I spend probably way too much money on fishing and lures and things that I really probably don't need, but they look cool in my tackle box. That's a big guilty pleasure of mine. But I mean, going to the other side of that, I can also throw down about 4 large pepperoni pizzas whenever I want also. So that's a guilty pleasure as well. So it kind of depends on which one you're looking for.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck as you work through the summer and head into the 23 season.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
And for our YouTube viewers, if you like this video, hit the like button down below. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, which determines how many people get recommended to watch this video and helps get it in front of more eyes. And if you like what we're doing with these videos, hit the subscribe and notification button so that you're notified anytime we post a new video.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.